there, and welcome to REFLO'S TV. How are you? I believe you're keeping well. Did you watch our previous video? I hope you did like, you did comment, you did share, and you have actually subscribed to our page. This is REFLO'S Church Girl, and I come your way with another exciting topic: finding your self-worth as a woman. How can we establish our self-worth as women? In what can we find our self-worth as women? Do remember that I am no expert on this topic. What I will be giving you is as a result of my perspective as far as this subject matter is concerned. And so let's get going. Now, being me, I have always been somebody who has always believed in development. Personal development, people development. There are a whole lot of problems, a whole lot of societal gaps that we experience day in, day out. I believe that one of the surest ways in answering these questions, in solving these situations, is through development. And by development, I mean encompassing all the aspects that you can ever think of. I believe that where we are and where we want to get to is filled with a developmental gap. In solving it, we can get there. Equally, in solving these gaps, we can find our self-worth as women. And so let's first of all look at intellectual development. I will talk about it any day, anytime. Is it not very interesting that in an era of information explosion, where you pick your phone, you type a question, and you're presented with a great deal of information, people like me always excuse ourselves of the fact that we do not have much time to read. Now, most often than not, when we talk about intellectual development, people tend to narrow their point of view to classrooms, organized educational institutions, and whatnot. But this very era tells you that you do not necessarily need to go to school or to be in an organized educational setting before you get yourself intellectually developed. What are the books that you want to read? You do not need to travel miles to libraries and dig deep into books as it was being done hitherto. This day, pick your phone, type a subject, and there is much that you can read and upgrade and update yourself with. That is what I'm talking about. And this we must do consistently and intellectually, because what this does is that it empowers us with things we never knew about. It betters our quality of life, and it broadens our scope of viewing things generally. So what are you doing intellectually as a woman? I believe that in these you will find answers to questions that you did not know about. It increases your worth as a person. You're able to engage in dialogues and conversations, and you're able to move out there fully confident. Intellectual development. Secondly, let's talk about economic development. So many a time, so many women have been exposed to situations that could have actually been avoided. You know why? Most of these times, these women were dependent on people, most especially on men. And sometimes you realize that everything of theirs is being supported or provided for by a man. Go out there and have conversations with your fellow guys and men. Women who depend on every single thing or look out for every single thing from other people, from other men. They have not been able to establish themselves economically. They have not been able to empower themselves economically, and so they always have to go to these sources. And even when these sources denigrate them, even when these sources abuse them, they have no option than to go to these places. How do such women find their self-worth? I'll take an example. When I completed university, I never thought that looking for a job was going to be a difficulty. Because here I was, I thought it was all about landing my first class degree, go out there, and you get a job easily. I realized that this was just a dream. I was there and I thought about something. In my home, I had this thing I was doing. It was a hobby, actually. I would make drinks for my siblings and would just enjoy it. So whilst, going through the job search and all that, I decided that I was going to add an economic bit to this hobby of mine. So I started making drinks. And I remember in my vicinity, there was a mechanic shop I would go to in the morning, give them some of these drinks. I got good feedback. And I realized that I was getting not just some significant amount of money, but something, meaningful. And continuously, the feedback I got from these people actually boosted my confidence. I had not previously thought of myself as the entrepreneurial type, but this was a venture that actually helped me develop my worth in believing in myself that I could actually bring out a product to be sold to people, for them to give me such comments. And so increasingly, I learned how to do other recipes. I created a business out of it, which I've registered today. And in spite of the fact that I may not be a blown business out there, I can tell you for a fact that I've made some significant amount of money from this business venture. I've learned how to do different recipes from this venture, and I've further impacted it to family and friends. And this has actually boosted myself in this area. When we talk about job, most of the time we look at the white-collar jobs, the office jobs, and it will even interest you to know that these people who find themselves in defined outlets or in public places are even now thinking of what they can do on their sites. So it does not matter the number of certificates you may have. Ask yourself, what is that talent you have? What is that passion you have? What fuel can you add to it? How can you bring an economic bit to it? It does not happen overnight. You start from somewhere. Sometimes the resources can be difficult, but I'll always say start from somewhere. You never know. Somebody might be there watching you, and they might patronize you, and tomorrow you will become a great business out there. This is another way I think women can find their self-worth. Not always depending on other people for livelihood, but thinking about what they can use their hands, their minds, and their all to do to create value so that they can get economic returns out of it. Socially, how are you developing yourself? What classes of people are you aligning with? Who are the people you are looking up to? What are you learning from society? These things do add onto you. What is your entire vision about life? Who are the people you think can feed positively into this vision? This is how you develop yourself socially. If you look at yourself and you look at where you're going to, you will be able to look out for who it is you can align with socially so that all that you intend to do will be able to be fulfilled. I will talk about mentally and psychologically developing ourselves. Did you know that you are in charge, or you were in charge of your mental faculties? The things you feed on every day are actually determined by you. What are the stories you're listening to? What are the ideologies you are buying into? In an age of information explosion, there is so much information out there. Go on the radio, go on social media, you hear a lot of things. But at the end of the day, you have to sit down and do some sifting. What are the things that are relevant to you? What are the things that you think can improve on your life? Mental development and psychological development. Sometimes it springs from your social class. The people you identify with, the people you feed into your circle can actually feed into your psychological well-being or your mental well-being. How do they make you feel? How do they treat you? They also contribute to the ideologies that you hold as a person. So you may be looking at your mental or psychological development also from people that you align with socially. And at the end of the day, another thing that women are very particular about is their physical outlook, how you look physically. Have you met a woman who hitherto had a very nice body shape, but after some physiological experience like pregnancy, loses her image or her physical outlook that she had and is not able to embrace the new hair? Physically, what are you doing to accept yourself. You need to stand in the mirror and tell yourself that you're beautiful, no matter how somebody sees you out there. If you do not do this, you cannot reflect positivity from outside. Or sincerely, is this something about your body you want to change? I have always said that we look at this as something that is so Herculean, something that is so far-reaching. But think about the simple, everyday things you can do. Taking breakfast. I am guilty of this. Eating on time, drinking water, being active. It's not about necessarily going to a gym, but how active can you be? What is your body type? What are the things that you think health-wise impact on your body? All these culminate into your physical outlook, into what you radiate out there. And so eventually you would realize that it is these bits and pieces of development that if we are looking at very well and holistically, we will be able to achieve the things that we were looking at from a far distance and be able to fill all the gaps that we had in our lives. I believe that in developing ourselves, we get empowered, we get keys to open doors that we could not enter, and we get ideologies and ideas that impact on us positively. Development, I believe, is the way to go. Do not forget that this video is brought to you by REFLO'S TV and REFLO'S Sanitary Pads. Your well-being is a #1 priority because you deserve the best. Do not forget that there is dignity in doing it right. My name is REFLO'S Church Girl, and I brought this to you from REFLO'S TV. Like, subscribe, comment, share, ask others to watch us, and subscribe to our page. More compelling content ahead of us, and we'll bring this to you each and every Monday. Don't miss out on our next episode. Bye-bye.